What is up, Scrub fam? I am back with a special guest. I have Rob Russo here from ARG Boston, the winner of the event. Before I get started into this super dope video, I'm going to go ahead and talk about my sponsor, Alec Pastrana and Beerus Collectibles. If you're looking for all your sealed product needs and the best customer experience possible, make sure you go through Alec Pastrana and Beerus Collectibles. Best team on earth, aside from the gentleman's team who ended up taking the weekend. So, Rob, how was your weekend, man?
Oh man, it was great. First event ever with my new team, and we killed it. It was a great weekend. The community really made it a great weekend, though. All the people I met this weekend were great, all supportive. I loved it.
That's awesome, man. And so, what is your team?
Nimbus World Order.
NWO is pretty sweet. Okay, cool. I
Yeah,
like that. I like
yeah.
that. All right. So I guess we'll go ahead and start from the top. So first thing I want to know is, what was your preparation like for this event? You know, how long were you testing with the deck that you ended up playing, and then how long were you testing both main deck and sideboard configurations?
Okay, so the week started off. We decided to go to Boston, and my entire team was on Trunks. And after playtesting with them, I realized how strong the deck was. My personal opinion, it was the best deck going into this event. Um, but I'm not an aggro player. I prefer to play control or mid range if I can. So I was always looking for a way to go around it. I started off with some bad builds. I tried Mirror Cell, I tried Baby, I tried everything to stop it. I thought green was the way to go. And then I finally gave in. I was like, all right, I'm just going to play Trunks because I can't figure this out. So I was playing on Untapped, actually, and I ran into this blue Goku deck. And he beat me the first time, and I was like, all right, that was whatever. The deck's okay. So I was like, play me again. I played him 5 times straight, and he swept me all 5 games. I had no idea what to do. He killed me. So after the 5 games, I pretty much picked up his deck list. And once I saw it, I saw the PPG video, but they were playing a lot of cards that shouldn't have been in the deck, and it didn't
Facts.
op.
So
Yeah,
true.
it didn't really make the deck optimal. So once I realized that this deck was real, I started playtesting with it at the beginning of the week, and slowly, the deck just started to come together. All my teammates helped me; they threw me a couple ideas here and there, and then it just kind of glued itself together. Literally on the car ride to Boston, I decided to play about 5 different cards that. So I was testing all week, and the build was changing all week.
Gotcha. No, that's awesome, man. So you decided on the deck the week of the event. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah,
Most people
yeah,
end up prepping for a long time and end up finding something. So I can definitely relate. I'm not necessarily an aggro player, but I play it if it's the best deck for that weekend.
yeah.
I had to do that a few times with Vegeta in the past, so I definitely understand your feelings there. But dude, congrats on finding what is probably definitively, like, I'd have to say probably the first control deck that this game has seen, if we're trying to be honest with ourselves and trying actually to group decks together. So
Yeah.
that's what got me so hype about your list, was not
Hmm.
just like, it wasn't just the list itself, but it was watching you play the deck, and the way you played the deck, it was just, you controlled the pace of the game, you stifled the opponent, and then you turned the corner, and you could always tell when you turned the corner just because of, like, you yourself got really aggressive with your body language the moment you knew
Yeah.
you were starting to win the game. So it's pretty
Oh
sweet.
yeah.
So let's go ahead, before I go into the actual list, I want to talk about what were the 5 cards you mentioned, that
Oh
you ended up adding at the, like, last moment.
yeah. So I was on the car ride with my boy Henry, and shout outs to him, by the way. Henry Hernandez. He top forward. He actually lost to Anthony Hernandez.
Oh, was Henry the he? You guys put 3 Trunks players into the top
Yep.
16.
We were all yeah. We had 5 people finish in the top 16 this weekend. They all played the same list. That was the deck I was gonna play, but I decided not to.
Oh, dude. Okay, that's awesome. So what were the 5 cards?
Yeah. So we were on the ride down, and I was playtesting the whole week, and I realized it was missing something because I knew there was no removal in the main deck for most of the format. I
Hmm.
just knew that some people would be siding it. So the SS3 Fist actually came to my attention, and when I first read the card, I thought it said when it was summoned, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty good. So I'll still play it. But then on the car ride down, I was reading it, and I'm like, it's when it attacks. So I'm
The
like,
card.
I can trigger this more than once. Like, this is crazy. I could play essentially 8 to 10 mana in SS3 if I really get 2 or 3 off. So once I realized that, I was just like, all right, that has to be in the deck. And then Legic was the biggest call, just for the simple fact that one thing people don't realize about this deck is it might be mainly blue, and it might be a blue Goku deck, but I can hit red-black or red-red opening, and it doesn't hurt me. The only thing it stops is me awakening a turn early, because all I do is use my mana for defensive, so I don't need
Correct.
colors.
Correct. Yeah, no, I noticed that in your list as well, and I like the
Yeah.
two Legic personally because I've talked about this a lot on the how good it is when you're on the draw. If you're on the
Yeah.
draw and
Oh yeah.
if you're on the draw and you see it, a lot of the times it can just be a blowout, especially in your list
Yep.
because you're also playing 4 Yajirobes. Because I mean,
Mhm.
if your first turn you drop or Yajirobe, they're like shields are up for you, like no matter
Yep.
what, and then
Exactly.
you're guaranteed to hit your Tapion on the next turn, which is essentially what
Yep.
you always want to do. Okay,
Mhm.
dope. All right, so let's go ahead and go into the deck list, man. If you want to go ahead and start laying it out for us.
Okay. Yeah. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay. So the leader I played this weekend was Sun Goku, SS3. Um, Honestly, this is one of my favorite leaders in the format right now, just for the simple fact that it brings such diversity. Like that's been questioned in the community if this card needs to change. I personally don't think so, just for the simple fact that you can play almost any color in this leader, and it could be viable. But um, yeah, so if you don't know what the leader does, it's basically just discard one when you have no mana. So on your first turn, you get to place 2 mana from your energy, from your life into your energy. So you start ahead of curve, basically. And then when he's awakened, draw 1 when you attack. You can only have 6 energy, and you get to choose up to 3 energy at the end of your turn and untap them. So it allows you to play on curve every turn. You can tap out whenever you want and not have to worry. So it's really OP. But getting into the deck, the first card is obviously one of the best in the deck, 4 Flute. If you're playing any blue leader, you definitely need to be playing this card. It just regenerates, and the combos in this deck are crazy. So, like Boo Flute is a great combo. Because most of the time, like the aggro decks will Mai or they'll summon their red cap or their trunks, and their +1 they're getting off their life, or they're not getting a +1 off the Mai. But the Boo, you're always guaranteed the cards to draw off the deck. So it's really strong. And this with Freehan is just really stupid. I'll get into that more when I come across him, but that's the best combo in the deck.
Yeah, I saw you do that a couple of times. We'll talk about that more
Oh
when
yeah,
you get there.
yeah. Next is the 1-drops. I played 4 Boo, Energy Burst Boo. It's just staple, draw 1. It really allows you to generate in the deck. So one of the biggest problems with this deck is Chain Attack Zeno. So off the draw, if they don't beat you with the Chain Attack Zeno, if you have this plus a couple flutes, you're regenning back and you're probably getting back in that game. So this card is really good. Next is 4 Sensu Bean. This card is just staple. Untaps mana, helps you defend. Great against this Chain Attack Zeno. For any reason, if you think they're going to Chain Attack Zeno, you should just bean your leader. Just trust me, it'll definitely save you.
And it might win you a game or two.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. There were so many times where people would summon the Trunks, swing at me for no reason, and I would bean just to make sure that they didn't want to chain attack me, or if they did, they would have to do it anyway. So it's definitely worth it. Trust me. Then I played 4 Whis Coercion. This card I don't feel like I really need to explain. It's just negate and attack. If you're not playing negates, you're never going to slow down aggro. So this was an obvious choice. Into the 2-drops, I played 4 Boost Attack Piccolo. Super combo of the deck. Honestly, even in SS3, even if you were playing Apes or anything, you should have been playing this card. Any leader, you should be playing the super combo with. That's just how I feel. This was honestly one of the big MVPs of the weekend for Yajirobe.
Yep.
The fact that I knew that the only removal in the format would either be Mass Saiyan or the new Fu, I knew that this card, if I summoned it on turn 1, I got to control when it left the board, and I personally feel like this is a better counter to aggro, because even though they can flute it back to your hand, that's still a -1 for them, and they don't get to abuse the flute combo, so I would almost rather you do that. And then the fact that I get to pick what I kill, like the full-powered energy is pretty good, but you can only really stop the 1-drops. So it's basically whatever I want to stop because it's not coming off the field.
Yeah,
so
it's good it's good at every portion of the game. I mean,
Yeah.
which makes the card incredibly powerful. I mean, I saw you deploy that even like when you had 6 energy, and it was just high value for you all the time.
I was gonna say in the finals, the last match, I summoned 2 on turn 3 when I had 4 mana, and they stayed till the last turn. I mean, I honestly mulliganed one back in my hand that opening game, and I regretted it. I could have had 3, but.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's all the 2 drops. The 3 drops, I decided to use 2 Legic. I sided the 3rd. I felt like 4 is way too many. I never want to have that many in my deck just because it's going to be a dead draw at some point. I felt like 3 was a little too much just because even though I can hit red and black, I don't want to. I felt like 2 was the perfect number. The 3rd I sided just for on draw and against aggro. So.
Okay.
Also, I sided it in whenever I noticed people were playing Massane instead of the Foo, because I would much rather establish as many blockers as possible if you're not actually playing removal.
Yeah.
So next is actually one of the best cards in the deck, Freehan.
Yeah.
This card is way too good.
He puts the whole team on his back, man.
Oh, yeah. No question about it. Well, any format that there's aggro, the 10k summon itself combo is always going to be prevalent. But now the fact that they put Flute in the game is just kind of ridiculous. Just for the simple fact that I can defend once with a Gohan. So 10k combo I just defended, which is standard in the format right now. 10k is a very good defense. And then he gets summoned on the board. I switch him back to active. Now I get to attack with him, which means that you're either taking a life, losing a monster, or negging a card out of your hand to stop this, or using a super combo, because I'm probably not going to combo with it, which is beneficial. And then you get to flute it back to your hand, draw a card. So you technically just super comboed with the 10k, drew a card, and then you get another defense out of it. So this card says gain 20k combo, draw a card, and you get to swing. Like, it's honestly obviously it's not better than Piccolo, but the combo is just like crazy. It's way too good.
To be honest, it was like the entire time I watched coverage, I thought it was the best card in your deck the entire time.
It was definitely one of them.
Yeah,
definitely one of them.
Yeah, whenever you drew it, and then whenever I saw you do the flute play, like essentially like swing with it, your opponent would either neg 1 or they take 1, and then you flute it back to hand. I just thought the moment that you happened, you were just immediately going to start to win the game. Like it was too powerful. You had so much control at that point.
Yeah, it generates so much, and not only that, but it's really good for the chain attack Zeno, because if they don't kill it on board, they're shuffling it back into my deck. And I want to draw this to defend myself. So it's not like a super combo where I lose it immediately and it goes straight to the grave. I can abuse this. I can continue to use this card.
Mm-hmm. No, that's awesome.
And I forgot what I was going to say. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah. All right, so now we're actually going to go to the MVP of the deck, because if this card wasn't in the deck, there's no way that you could play this. But I played 4 Oath's Power Tapion.
Yep.
This card is just Hyper Rush for Awakening, and this card is crazy just for the simple fact that it says up to 2. If it said 2, it would actually be really not that good. For the simple fact that if it says up to 2, I never have to defend my 6 life. Unless it's crit, I never have to defend the 6 life, because it's going to be the same result either way. I could take 2 or 1 with him. So you can combo all you want on the 6 life, but I'm just going to take it anyway. If it's not crit, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So that makes it insane, because most people... That's the biggest factor of this deck. Most people didn't know about this deck. They had to pick up and read this card. They had to pick up and read Bergamo. They had to pick up and read all my cards. So if you don't know what the card does and you can't play correctly around my strategy, because that's all it is. If you knew the deck strategy, it would be easier to counter. But since no one knew it, I was easy to abuse.
Yeah, I honestly, from playing with that card a lot, aside from just being able to hyper awaken yourself, the tempo you gain by top decking one of your opponent's cards is you're blanking their draw step for the turn, which is that's incredibly powerful, especially if their life is already low, and then now you put like their 1-drop that has to take a life to be effective back on top.
Yep. And the best part is too, it can target apes too. So if they do that Bardock Evolve, just put it right back on the deck.
Yep, and then they lose their 1-drop.
Yep. It's beautiful.
Yep. Awesome.
Under the 4 drops, I played 4 Unbreakable Goku. This is basically a super combo in a deck that can untap itself at all costs. At all times. So basically, what the objective of this deck is, you want a hard mulligan for Tapion. And let's say you open up with Tapion, your game goes from like good to like amazing. Because once you know you have this card, you can start mulliganing for other cards. But if you don't have this card, you should literally just shuffle your whole 6 cards and search for this. Because if you're not awakening, I don't want to rely on my opponent to do it. So the mulligan changes in this deck so much with this card. Basically, you want to keep your 10Ks early because you want to defend with them. But if you don't have Tapion, you just need to shuffle your whole hand back and just restart. But if you can untap mana and defend. So this is just a super combo, basically. If I can untap 3 mana every time, you're telling me I have an extra Piccolo in my hand. So there's no reason not to play it. Even if you hit the red on the life, it's all right. Next, I played 4 Trios to Danger Bergamo.
Yeah.
This card ended people's lives this weekend. Let's just put it that way.
There was so much salt when you played it, man.
Yeah.
And then they had to read it like 100 times.
Yep, this was spicy. This card was amazing. Honestly, this is the whole concept of the deck. Basically, you steal game 1 with Bergamo. So you want to make them think your whole deck revolves around it, and you basically just abuse it game 1, and then they're going to try and side in to stop this, and then you just either on play keep it or just decide if you want to side it out or not, like depending on what you really think they're going to do. But basically, if you beat somebody down with this, they don't forget about it. You win game 1 with this, they're going to be thinking about that the whole game too. I promise you that. So it's really good. And not only that, it's just the permanent always works. So even if you shrouded Fu, that's how I won my top 8. He shrouded Food me the first game, and then I just adjusted the second game and realized that if I summon this on turn 5, the permanent still works, so you have to attack it. So as long as I could defend it, you weren't going to beat me with the Shroud. So this card was just insane. 25 off the base, your first attack, so normally your attacker is going to be a 15, which means you have to use at least 1 super combo to get up to me. If not, you're probably going really minus to get rid of this. So...
Yeah, and with that too, coupling that with your Raging Spirit Sun Gohans, like you would just punish people so hard when they had to swing at the Bergamo, because you would gain the 5k, they would just combo to 25, and then you would just gut them with the Raging Spirit Sun Gohan.
That's another thing people didn't understand how to combo against this deck. This deck it replenishes all its cards, and it defends so well that you can't really do lackluster attacks. Like if you hit me with a 20k attack, I'm going to easily just get over that, and you're going to waste your card. If you don't, actually combo correctly against this deck, you're going to get eaten.
Yeah, I noticed that a lot in your finals game 1 against Anthony. There was just points where he just didn't know what to do, and he just ended up negging so hard against you from either not knowing what to invest or investing too much. And then, you just vastly outplayed him that game just because of that alone.
Yeah. Honestly, it's just the fact that, if there's no removal in the format, once I get one of these on the board and I know you can't get rid of it, I had the other one in my hand against Anthony. I knew if he wasn't getting rid of that turn, that result was going to happen no matter what. Because even with Nimbus, if you prioritize the first attack with this, you can get them both in rest mode. So there's no way to stop this.
Correct.
But, all right. Next is the 5 drops. I played 4 Universe 7 Beerus from the Tournament of Power. This card is really, really, really strong.
Is it?
What?
I said, is it?
Oh, yeah. Very, very strong. Just for the simple fact that if I get this behind a Bergamo, even if I don't get it behind a Bergamo, if I get this behind a Bergamo and you don't have a Zeno or Fu, you're going to have to neg yourself so hard on this. And the way the deck plays, it's so defensive that there's a good chance that this is going to resolve more than once. And if I resolve one Beerus more than once, the game is really going downhill for you. But, so basically, if you didn't have the chain attack, if you didn't have the Zeno or the Fu, you'd have to neg yourself out of your mana or off the field, and most of the time it would equal more than 6 because, you can't always get the optimal 6 play. So I'd be having people discard 8, 9 sometimes. It was crazy. But, so basically you just want to establish this on field and try to resolve it as much as possible.
Okay, cool. And the deck can definitely do it. I've been playtesting with the deck as well, and I've noticed that I've cast two 5 drops per game at least.
Yeah,
and
if you get
just
2 out,
close.
yeah, if you get 2 out and you can resolve them, it's pretty much game just for the neg that they had to take, and then they have to go so minus to try and even kill this. And if they don't, it's over.
Awesome.
The black cards. So I played 2-dimensional Banisher Fu in the main deck.
My favorite card, man.
Yeah, this card is I personally right now think in the format it's better than Massayan. This card is insane. This card is insane. I knew that this was going to be the only removal coming into the weekend, and I knew people were going to side probably 2, maybe 3, but I knew nobody was going to main deck this card. I didn't think the community realized how strong this card was, but especially in this deck, for the simple fact that if I want to resolve a Beerus, if you have a Zeno on board, I can just summon this and remove the Zeno, and now I'm definitely getting my Beerus result. I'm definitely resolving my Beerus because most of the time, if you know the deck, you're going to leave Zeno in your mana or on the field. So if you leave it on the field, banking that my Beerus is just going to pop that, and I foo you, it's just crazy. And not only that, but the red-blue Goku deck, they play that Crit Gohan, and they will defend it with all the cards they have because they're just going to try and replenish next turn. So the play is just make them discard everything by swinging at it and then dropping this because they have no idea it's even in your main deck. Then they're at like 2 or 3 cards and their Gohan's gone. So that's a game right there.
Yeah. No, I saw you do that as well. Make people invest into the battle card they want to keep, and then you just blow them out with the Dimensional Banisher Fear that they didn't see coming.
Oh, yeah. No one sees it coming. And the fact that blockers are so prevalent right now, I just don't see Mass Saiyan being that good. Like, when I realized Anthony Hernandez sided in the 2 Mass Saiyans against me, I realized that was his only removal. So I just decided to stuff my deck with blockers instead so that he couldn't remove anything. So basically, it just comes down to the point where I have barrier and blocker, and your removal is useless now.
Yep. Awesome.
And then the last 2 cards are Scientist Fu. This card's amazing. I wanted to play 3. I really wanted to play 3, but I knew that I needed the removal, and I thought it was too many black cards. But if I could have fit 3 in there, I definitely would have got it in there.
Yeah, I mean, it's helpful, too, that you're playing mostly mono blue. So, I mean, you weren't always restricted because, I mean, like some decks, if they were playing dual colors and you opened up, like, a black card and then one of your colors, then you feel like too many turns behind. But since you were mostly blue, it paid off for you.
Yeah, but I was going to say most of the big monsters that you're going to drop on 5, 6 anyway, you'll be able to control your mana so well, even if you start off rough, just for the simple fact that they only need Bergamo. I think Bergamo's the only one that needs 3 blue. Yeah. So most of them need 2 blue, which means that you can easily control your mana curve with it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Okay, cool. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say last thing about the black cards is that they just add the double strike factor in the deck. That's the one thing that this deck kind of lacked was pressure. Like, I would be able to stop you, but if I didn't have Beerus and I wasn't crushing you, I wouldn't, like, be able to pressure you much. So I needed the one mana double strike for sure.
Okay, awesome. So do you mind if we go into the sideboard just to hear your thoughts?
Oh, yeah, no, I have no problem with that.
Okay, awesome.
So I'll start off with the MVP, actually. I only ended up siding, like, 8 cards out of my 15, but... the MVP of the weekend was definitely Dragon Fist SS3 Son Goku. This card is insane. Like I said on the car ride, I realized here that it was when it attacks and not when it's summoned. Because I was still going to play it when it's summoned because it's still pretty decent. But the fact that you could trigger this multiple times is just like actually insane.
Yeah, no, that card was heavily slept on set release. I mean, the fact that it gets around barrier, double strike, and then just it's a huge body, 25k, so your opponent's going to have to spend 2 cards to defend if they need to. That card's just incredibly powerful. I was glad to see it in your sideboard when I saw your list.
Honestly, I wish I could have fit this in the main deck. I would have fit this in the main deck over the Bergamo if the Bergamo wasn't so dominant game 1. But honestly, if you think about it, it takes the Son Goku leader and basically abuses him. Because it says you can only have 6 mana, but if this guy is untapping 2 every turn, if you establish 1 on board, they're probably not going to kill it. And if they don't, you establish a second one. You can now essentially almost reset your entire turn. And you have 2 double strike barrier monsters swinging that they have to defend. Yeah. So it's essentially crazy. You could I did this to a kid. You could summon all 3 if you chain and then you reset your entire turn. Like you literally start over. It's just insane.
That's nasty.
Yeah. I sided the 3rd Legic. This was just for on play and when I saw Mass Saiyan get sided in on play and just against aggro decks because I didn't want to fit 3 in the main, but I knew in certain matchups I'd need it, so I definitely threw it in the side. For Cronoa, honestly, I did not use this card whatsoever, but it's definitely going to stay in the sideboard. That Ginyu's definitely going to come up soon.
Shigesh is still a broken card, whatever way you look at it.
Yeah. I would take the -4 in the side deck just to make sure I didn't lose to that card.
Yeah.
But Tumafuba, I sided this for the Universe 7 matchup. I mean, I didn't really expect to see much of it, but I didn't want to get caught off guard because I did play a couple on Untapped, and if they get the 7-drop Frieza or they get the Victory Strike out on me and I don't have my combo set up, it's pretty rough. But I didn't side this card in once, so this actually might be going.
Okay.
2 Strategist Piccolo. Honestly, this card has to be replaced with the Energy Boost Beerus. I couldn't actually get the other two. As crazy as that sound, I would have sided for Energy Boost Beerus, because on the way down I realized that this guy only pops up to equal to your mana. So at best I can get rid of a 6-drop. When I would rather just wait the extra turn and be able to pop anything with the Energy Boost Beerus, because there's so many cards. Like, perfect example, Zeno gives me problems in the deck just for the Beerus trigger and whatnot. So if I can get that off field as soon as possible, I would rather do that.
Mm-hmm.
But so yeah, this should have been Energy Boost Beerus.
Makes sense. Okay.
Then to Energy Boost Beerus, this card was really strong. I only sided it in really against apes. It's just amazing. I mean, most of them were siding the barrier card if they were even playing it. So they were just, because there was no removal in the format. So I don't blame them for siding the barrier. But I mean, this card just crushed the ape matchup.
Yeah, I saw that. You basically Dimension Banisher Fu and Energy Boost Beerus to Anthony in the finals on the same exact turn.
I was going to say, honestly, if I didn't mess up, if I wasn't so tired and I didn't mess up at the end, I comboed extra with one of the Beeruses, I would have won that game way early if I just and not did that and summoned it, because I would have popped his other 8, but it's all right. And then the last card, I would have sided 2, maybe even 3 of this card. That might sound crazy. Shrouded Fu. If you're playing any Son Goku deck, this should either be in the main or the side. Regardless, this card is amazing.
Yeah, it's a 6 energy win the game card.
Yeah, essentially, as long as Bergamo isn't on the field, this says win the game at 6 mana. So, especially like when you side in the fists and whatnot, if you can establish a Beerus, a fist, and then foo them, it's actually over. Like, there's no way they're recovering from that.
Truth.
So I would have definitely sided more of this. I actually didn't have this card either, but I would have definitely sided 2 or 3 of them. This was my biggest worry all weekend. When I played that guy in top 8, when he's playing apes with this in the main deck, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little nervous.
Yeah, no. That is awesome, man. The deck, like I said, the deck was incredibly sweet. So, if there was anything that you could change about the weekend when it came to your deck configuration, would you change anything for that weekend? Aside from getting the 2 Energy Boost Beerus.
Yeah, I was gonna say not in the main deck. I felt like I made this as optimal as I could. Yeah, no, I don't think I would change anything in the main deck. Probably just the side deck.
Gotcha. So
side deck definitely needs some work.
So how do you think the format evolves from here? Where do you think it goes?
Well, I definitely think that people are going to try and use removal now. I mean, at least they should. I don't know. It definitely just changed the whole meta, just for the simple fact that you're not going to be able to get away with not having removal in your deck. It should be interesting though, because I would like to see the aggro builds with some removal. You know, I think that would be interesting. But moving forward, yeah, I think this makes the game a little bit better, because hopefully people realize that even though the aggro combo is crazy, that there's still other ways to go.
Yeah, so how does it feel to know that you single-handedly completely changed everyone's perspective on the metagame? I know that's kind of a stretch to say, but like honestly, if you really look at everything, like from my video, the primer coming into it, I was right about Intensifying Power Trunks being the most played card. Like I was right about those things, but you took that and you built a deck that completely just ruins that strategy and controls the game so well that now people have to look at your strategy as kind of like as public enemy number 1, so to speak. So how does it feel to know that you did that this past weekend?
Honestly, it feels really good. I mean, I tried to get my whole team on this deck, but most of them were on the Trunks deck. A lot of them like aggro. I mean, I don't blame them. But yeah, I mean, honestly, there was a lot of doubt about this deck. A lot of people laughed this deck off. I guarantee you a lot of the top 16 didn't even read my deck list, just for the simple fact that they read so many of my cards. But yeah, this deck was really brushed off. It was low key. And that contributed to my success with the deck, to be honest. I felt like it was the perfect meta call. I was telling everyone that I had to play this now or I could never play this again. Like, it was either this event or it wasn't going to happen. So that's why I was really determined to actually do this, because once I realized, I saw a lot of meta reports, and once I saw people were just going to play SS3 and Hirudegarn, I could handle the Hirudegarn matchup, and SS3 I eat. And this is honestly my personal opinion, the most optimal version of SS3, because I realized in the matchups most of the time you just want hand advantage and card advantage because you're both going to awaken anyway. So this card just allows you to replace everything and just play optimally against other SS3s, basically. I think this is the best build, if we're going in a mirror match at least.
Yeah, no, I definitely have to say I agree. So I guess closing thought would be, how does it feel to be a champion, man?
Feels pretty good, I guess. I honestly thought my boy Henry was going to win this event, if I'm not lying. But I told him in the car I'd see him in the finals. Unfortunately, I couldn't meet him there. But it was great, man. I loved the weekend. I loved all the people I met. Shout out to all the great people I met. Everyone I played. Alejandro was a great opponent. Top 8 was a great opponent. Everyone. It was awesome weekend. A lot of people love the deck. I'm glad people realize that this is an actual deck now and not just some gimmicky, this is definitely a tier deck.
No, dude, 100%. It's already in my gauntlet. I have to get ready for Gen Con myself, so trust me.
Yeah,
I'm taking it more than seriously, man.
Yeah, I was going to say, keep your eye out.
100%. But anyway, man, I just want to say I appreciate you coming on and talking about your deck. I think, like I said, your deck was the best for the day. I'm excited to see where it goes from here because, the best part about building a new Tier 1 deck is seeing all the tunes and tweaks that happen throughout a format.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm waiting for. I didn't want this format to stay the same because if some Trunks or aggro deck won, I guarantee you it would have stayed somewhat the same, maybe a little variant, but I wanted to see, a little spice.
Awesome, man. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close it here. Again, I want to thank my man, Rob Russo, champion of ARG Boston, from coming and sharing his deck with us. Other than that, Rob, you got any closing thoughts or any shout-outs you want to give, man?
Yeah, I was going to say, can I just give a couple shout-outs before we close?
Go ahead, man. It's yours.
I'd like to give a shout-out to my mom. She's my biggest supporter. She was on that live stream all day, and I loved it.
Let's go, Rob!
Yeah, all day. I loved it.
Dude, it was amazing.
Yeah. My friend Mike Vizentini, good friend. My team, NWO, Nimbus World Order. Henry Hernandez, I promise you, one of the most gifted minds I've seen in Dragon Ball. He helped me so much. This was my first event ever. I came into this event never even playing a game 2 or 3. Let's just put that into perspective. And Henry mentally prepared me so well in a 4-hour car ride that I felt like I had been playing game 2 and 3 my entire life.
Wow, that's amazing, man. Henry Hernandez certainly sounds like the boss. I'll have to have him on at some point. I'm pretty sure he'll be winning some events soon.
And just last shout out to my boy Vooz. He's one of my best friends. He's been there for me.
Awesome, man. Shout out to Vooz. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching this video. Again, if you have any feedback, go ahead and put it down in the comments. You can go to the Patreon. I'll put that link below, as well as Bearded Collectibles link below. Thank you guys so much for coming in. Thanks again, Rob. K.
Thank you for the time, man.
Bye.